Protecting homes and businesses from the whims of nature, you need more than just quality materials. You require Riverland Roofing. Licensed, insured, and certified, Riverland Roofing offers not only the assurance of excellence, but a tailored approach to your unique structural needs and budget. To learn more about what Riverland Roofing can do for you and the community, call them at 662-644-4297 or visit riverlandroofing.com.
Hello again, friends, and welcome inside, at least for me, Ben Garrett, the Riverland Roofing Studios. Riverland Roofing for all your roofing needs, 662-644-4297, riverlandroofing.com. Few, if any, are doing more for Ole Miss in the name, image, and likeness, NIL, space than Riverland Roofing. And because of Riverland Roofing, I've gotten to know my good friend here, Judd Utermark, who joins us for the latest rollback edition episode of Judd U. We're bringing it back. We're going to bring it back bigger and better and stronger. Right now, Judd is not in town. He's back in Shreveport. Buddy, how you doing?
I'm doing good, besides the fact I'm in Shreveport. It's my first time here. I'm driving back to Dallas, stopping through College Station to see some of my extended family. This might be my first time that I stayed a night in Louisiana, besides going down to Baton Rouge. And I don't know if I ever want to be back here. I'm going to be honest with you. It's, I've heard there's some good parts of it, but I haven't seen them yet. So I guess we'll see.
Have you ever been to New Orleans?
I haven't. No, that's on my bucket list. I do want to go. I've heard it's fun, but man, you know the schedule.
Yeah.
Can't go down there. There ain't no time.
No, there's not any time at all. And I figured the best way to kind of, because it's been so long since you and I have talked and really caught up about things. Judd's got questions for me. I've got questions for him. So we'll kind of go that way with it. My first question for you, and you can return serve if you want to right afterwards, and we'll roll from there. But first and foremost, the Pizza Bowl is behind y'all. Inter-squad fall is behind y'all, the scrimmage season. What's the biggest, as one of the team leaders, what was like one of the biggest takeaways for you from the work that got done this fall? What stood out to you?
Yeah, I think, and obviously I know you talked to Coach Clem, and it's been a little bit different fall. I think it's been good for us. I think the biggest difference has been just the intentionality of getting better from the skill side, whether that's defense, whether that's pitching, whether that's hitting, obviously. We've done a good job of taking it day by day and trying to just improve it a little bit. I can only speak from the hitter side and obviously the defense side, but I think that the progression that we had from day one, not just the new guys, not just the young guys, but even some of the veteran guys that have been in the program, there have been a lot of improvements when it comes to the small things that you encounter every day during a baseball game. So that's what I'm optimistic for. Obviously, you can look at the stats and all that. Pitching was very, very good this fall. I thought we swung it for some power as well. We have some guys that really stood out to me. Obviously, we all know about Hayden Federico, who was an absolute stud freshman last year. He's going to be a stud sophomore this year. He's someone that, I don't want to say Golden Spikes watch list, but he's up there. He really is, and he has the capabilities to do that. You got guys like Dom Decker, even Tate Sermon's having a great fall from the hitter's perspective. And then obviously, you know what you're getting with the pitching with Coach Mangrum and how well he handles those pitchers. So overall, it's been a good fall. I just can't wait to get to February 13th.
Yeah, and I know that Ole Miss fans can't wait either. I told Judd before we started, because we didn't really know what to talk about outside of, I had obvious baseball questions, but Judd has been he wanted to do a Lane show. So your first question to your friend at Spirit Ben, part of the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, affiliate on 3, is what?
Lane Kiffin, where is he going? What's your prediction?
I don't know where he's going. Honestly, if you made me guess today, I'd probably say Florida. All I know is this. I don't think he's going to be Ole Miss's head coach next year. That's what I believe. I believe that I don't know how anyone can draw any other conclusion right now, Judd. And I'm curious because, look, you're one of the most recognizable athletes on campus. And, baseball really hasn't gone through this much. There was that LSU pursuit a couple summers ago for Mike. But from a player standpoint, I can't imagine what it's like to be facing your regular season finale. You win and you're in. And yet all of the focus isn't on the historical nature of that. and what Ole Miss is accomplishing, but instead on everything but. What should be the greatest time of Ole Miss celebration right now for football is been robbed because of a circus of Lane Kiffin's creation. Whether you think the media has pressed the issue or not, or shouldn't have pressed it so hard, whatever it might be, this is all a creation of Lane Kiffin, and I don't know how anyone could draw any other conclusion today after the public evidence that I think is quite literally slapping us in the face in a lot of ways. I don't see how I can draw any other conclusion. And I know the Ole Miss side, they're still those that I talk, and that's where I'm most sources on the Ole Miss side. And of course, there's a lot of still optimism that he'll stick around and stay, and that nothing has been decided. But I just don't see it. I've tried and I don't see it. I've heard a lot of optimistic things that have changed my mind and gone, okay, well, maybe that makes sense.
Yeah.
But now
They're
after
all
yesterday,
maybes.
especially, dude, I don't know how as a player, like how that would jive with me in the locker room. You know what I mean? Like how would that jive?
Yeah.
I don't get that
I've
at all.
wondered that. I've been blessed here. Obviously, I can't remember exactly which year it was, but there was an open opportunity at LSU with Coach B, and I was blessed, and all of our team was blessed enough that he came back, because I really truly think that this is his home. And the legend of Coach B continues here. He's in my opinion, he's one of the greats. I can't imagine being in a locker room about to go into a regional game and I'm having to deal with this. Now, I understand that a lot of it's business. I do understand that at the forefront of it, you have to put yourself and your family first. But maybe I'm missing something, but the timing I think it would sit better with me if this was after the season or if this was before the season. And I also understand that it's the most leveraged opportunity right now. Those positions aren't going to be open forever, so there needs to be a decision that's made. But why is this taking so long? Why? I am a massive, massive Ole Miss football fan. I've been since I stepped on campus. Why is this taking so long? It's not fair to the fans. It's not fair to the players. It's not fair to anyone. So that's really just kind of my frustration with it. Sitting up there in the student section, wondering, man, what's going to happen? Whenever we played Florida, that was probably the craziest game I've ever been to. Whenever it comes to atmosphere and just overall, just student body and just the fans showing up to Vaught-Hemingway. But I couldn't stop thinking about, man, is this his last game? And then obviously we go through this in the last week and a half of just absolute drama. It's starting to frustrate me a little bit, but what am I? I'm just a fan. I'm just a fan of Ole Miss football, so I don't know the behind the scenes like you do, Ben.
I first of all disagree. I think you have a little more clout than just a regular Ole Miss fan in this way. I mean, when you hit 22 bombs last year and lead Ole Miss back to the playoffs after the struggles of the last couple of years. But dude, it's a valid question. It's a valid concern because this is Mississippi State week. This is the Egg Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, the way it could have been best handled is complete upfront and honest conversations with everyone. And I believe it would have done a whale of good for Lane Kiffin to say, look, guys, everything is year to year now. I'm completely focused in on this team and how it finishes a national championship chase. If other schools want to talk, man, we'll see after the season. I don't even think that far ahead. All I've got right now is this playoff run, this title run. But it's hard for Lane to even praise his current team. It's really, I mean, it's the stuff that he isn't saying that I think is the most telling. When asked about Trinidad Chambliss's waiver by me yesterday, and he says, well, I hope he gets it because he wants to play another year of college football, not about the we and what Ole Miss could be next year. And it was like that all throughout the press conference when he wasn't just being straight up contentious. So, I think the answer for me would be, I don't know where he's coaching next year. I don't think anyone truly does. Maybe not even Lane Kiffin right now. But I don't believe that's going to be Ole Miss. All right. So any of the newcomers – wait, no, I got one before that because this is the one I really wanted to make sure I hit on. Hunter didn't really pitch all fall, and then he finally got some live action against you and I think Furnace, okay?
Yes.
Did you get him? Or was he doing that Hunter thing? You know what I mean? Did you hit a tank on him and flip the bat, or was he – what did he look like?
So he's been putting in so much work this fall, and that's why he's the best pitcher in the country, is because he can spend an entire 4 months working on his craft to just become that much better. We know what we're getting from Hunter. He's the champ. You know, he's a level above everyone else in college baseball because of his experience, because of his age, and just because of his competitiveness, to be honest. I mean, we saw it in the SEC tournament and in the regional and throughout the entire year. He's different. He's different. So he kind of worked this progression up. I think he gave his arm a little rest, and then him and Coach Mangum really pushed hard to make his quote unquote stuff better. Me and Furnace were lucky enough to see it live action towards the end of the fall. I can't remember what I did. I just remember it was hard to hit. He looked really good. Obviously, his signature changeup was just, falls right off the table. His fastball has a lot more carry now. It's a lot harder. And then he has the slider, and obviously the slower slider, the curveball that is very hard to hit. But I'm really looking forward to what he does this year, how he handles kind of this change. Not necessarily mechanical, but more of, hey, how do we train you like a big leaguer? How do we train you to not run out of steam at the end of the year? Not that he did, but we're trying to get to Omaha. We're not trying to just go to a regional. And that means 3, 4, or 5 more games that he has to pitch. So overall, he looks really good. He's been a great leader in the locker room. I think he's the oldest guy now on our team, and
Crazy to me.
he acts like the youngest. So, he's an awesome dude. He's one of my best friends, especially since I've been there all 4 years. Furnace has been there all 4 years, and Hunter's been there all 5 years.
That's crazy, man.
That's it.
Like, in this culture in college sports, man, that is just not the norm anymore. It just doesn't happen anymore. Before we get to Judd's second question for me, I want to let y'all know, not just Riverland Roofing that powers Talk of Champions and everything we do with the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com, and affiliate 1-3. Also, if you're unhappy with or shopping your health insurance coverage, call Drew Moak of USA Benefits Group at 601-953-8449. That's Drew Moak of USA Benefits Group, 601-953-8449. He offers regular health, dental, vision, and Medicare supplement plans. Ole Miss grad services 35 different carriers. It'll make sure you're in the right plan for you and your family. That's 601-953-8449, or visit him on his website, quoteswithdrew.com. Also powered by my friends at B&A Bank, my hometown bank. Carolyn Brownson, I love you to death. Whit Spencer, you know it, bro. That's life. That's my ride or die forever. Branches in Tupelo and New Albany. If you're like me and never really wanted to grow up and had to learn the hard way how to deal with financial stuff by people who actually know it, B&A Bank's the place to go, man. They're more than a bank. They're friends. 662-534-8171, 662-534-8171 for whatever you're looking for. Maybe you're wanting to do mortgages, call Whit. Maybe you're wanting to just get some financial advice, man. I can point you where it goes. But the easiest way is to call them, 662-534-8171. And also Tannehill Carmen Real Estate and Title. Tannehill Carmen has served Oxford for over 20 years. Criminal defense, personal injury, real estate, and probate and estate planning. If you're buying a condo, climbing the property ladder, upsizing, downsizing, buying recreational property, all you need to do is call Zach Bonner and his team at Tannehill Carmen, and they'll hook you up. So call them today. Great people and a proud sponsor of this here Talk of Champions. All right, your second question for Ben is what?
What does the playoffs look like for us?
Okay. See, here's the thing. That's the hardest pill to swallow for me, Judd. Tell me if I'm crazy here. All right. Lane Kiffin, I love Chris Lowe, who is an On3 national reporter. He's been an OG in this game for a long time. One of the most genuinely good people in this business I've ever known. So this is not a criticism of Chris. You run with you run with what you get. And what you're hearing, and try to be honest about that. But Chris is Lane's go-to guy for giving stuff to. And it leaks out with a story from Chris, the college football playoff scenario, that if Lane isn't the head coach, there is precedent for the college football playoff, citing not just Florida State, but the bylaws themselves. It's in the fine print that if Ole Miss loses Lane, they could be punished for that in the college football playoff. That's the hardest pill for me to swallow. That is nonsense. An 11-1 Ole Miss, even a 10-2 Ole Miss with a loss to State, would deserve to be one of the 12 teams playing in the playoff. And yet, all of the focus is not on the coronation of an historic Ole Miss season. It is instead on if Lane Kiffin is holding this program hostage.
Yeah.
So all things equal, what do the playoffs look like for Ole Miss? If I think this is heading towards an obvious eventuality, which is Lane Kiffin's last game coaching as Ole Miss head coach will be the Egg Bowl, with an interim to take over, probably Joe Judge in the CEO role and everyone else's roles, including Pete Golden at DC, Charlie Weiss at OC, staying the same, and then you make the run. I would hope that the stuffy old men in suits that have wrecked this game for so long will see the stupidity of punishing players for the decisions off the whims of the most unreliable narrator ever. But if they do, and they just treat them for their resume, and they're 11-1, dude, they should be hosting a first-round home playoff game. Period. I mean, they could get SMU. They could get with a matchup second round with Texas A&M. I think watching Texas A&M and Ole Miss in the second round would be an absolutely insane game. But that's the thing. Everything that you think that this exercise is for, the exercise of sport, Judd, everything is in front of Ole Miss. This is what they put in that work for in the summer. This is what they put in that work for in strength and conditioning when they're running steps like you did the other day at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. All of that was for this specific moment in time, and it's been taken hostage by a coach who just refuses to recognize his own fault in the circus that he himself has primarily created. So a long way of saying there's so much up in the air because of Lane, but if you just base it off the resume, they're hosting a first round playoff game in Oxford if they beat State on Friday, but beating State on Friday is no sure thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything can happen in the Egg Bowl, as we've seen.
Exactly.
But what I don't understand is if Lane's ultimate goal is to win national championships, isn't this the best place to be right now? I understand things can change, right? And you can make an argument that LSU or Florida has, they're more blue blood and they have more of an NIL bucket to pull from. They might have more resources or more history or whatever. But both of them aren't in the college football playoffs right now. And I thought that to be in sports, I'm going to keep it easy. You play sports to win. That's the bottom line. You don't play sports to have the clout or to have the opportunities or to get the girls no, you play sports to win, and ultimately at the highest level you want to win a national championship. Now if you're at a mid-major, you want to win your conference tournament or you want to win your conference championship. But why are we entertaining this whenever we have a 3-7 Florida and a 5 and I don't even know what LSU is? They're not even in contention. So why are we so worried about now? Obviously they lose their head coaches and that's going to open up a spot, and part of that is probably because of the record and the play. I just don't understand it. I do not understand why this is being talked about right now. And also why I want to talk about this for a second. This year has got to be the most head coaches fired in a single season. And it can't be close. It must be like 15 or 16 at this point. Why is that? Are people just they don't have patience anymore, or?
That is a part of it. I mean, and Lane's not wrong when he says, and John Sumrall, I think, framed it the best. If he's Ole Miss's next coach, he'd certainly be a favorite for them. They're down the road already with him. And people asking, well, isn't Ole Miss doing then, if they hired John Sumrall, the same thing to Tulane that Florida or LSU would be doing to Ole Miss? Like, John Sumrall is going to coach Tulane to the end of its season regardless.
Yep.
And like he said, he framed it perfectly. And I think if Lane could have just said this, it would have been much better than whatever he has done here, which is there's only two roads for a football coach: win and everybody wants you, or lose and everybody fires you, right? Like You're either getting job offers or being fired. And the timeline has never been more truncated. Coaches, I mean, how can you look around otherwise and come to any other conclusion? Just like I think Lane's leaving, how can you come to any other conclusion other than 3 years is what coaches get? 3. 3 because of the NIL era and being able to quite literally overturn rosters and make them good in one singular offseason. So Lane wasn't wrong when he said that I could be fired for doing this, that, and the other. The problem is that you were 9-3 with the best Ole Miss football roster ever last year. And what happened? You weren't once put on the hot seat at Ole Miss. What do you think will happen at LSU and Florida? The only reason why this conversation, though, to answer your question, is happening right now is because of the timeline, because of those stuffy old men in suits in Indianapolis, the NCAA. You know, you got to be a good soldier and sit here and listen to this part. You can't even contribute, but one day maybe you could. Bottom line is like, they made this calendar. Like, it's not Lane's fault that this is the calendar. It's not Ole Miss's fault that this is the calendar. Ole Miss has only said that we recognize the issue with the calendar. We recognize that you're seriously talking. We're just telling you we're going to be moving forward with the business of Ole Miss now. And I don't think Lane likes that. I don't think Lane likes it that there's no scenario in which he is coaching, a departing Lane Kiffin is coaching Ole Miss in the playoffs. That's not how any of this is supposed to work or will ever work. And the only issue is he doesn't understand why he can't. All right, one of my final questions. Number 3, as far as those transfer newcomers, I've talked to Daniel Passella. You mentioned Dom Decker. Of all those guys, did they live up to the billing in the fall? Did you see guys that – I mean, because you already had a good roster coming back, right? I mean, this is from a team that won a lot of games. But when you look at Dom, when you look at Daniel Passella, when you look at the needs of this team, right? What has stood out to you? Have they met expectations? All that kind of stuff. What's the impression of the transfers specifically?
Yeah, I think it goes on an individual basis, just because we have a lot of different types of players. Coach Clem talks a lot about the pack and how the pack. There's certain jobs within the pack that each wolf is responsible for, right? Going for the heel or going for one climbs on the back, one's in front distracting it, and then one goes for the jugular. We have our offense is the epitome of that, right? We have guys like Hayden Federico. We have guys like Dom Decker who they're the guys that are going to get on base. They're going to draw walks. They're going to, work counts. They're going to make it tough on the pitcher to get into a groove because they don't strike out. That they're that good. And it's hard for me to say, with me leading the country in strikeouts last year, that they are so good at not swinging out of the zone, and they are so disciplined at the plate, even for how young they are. Now, Dom's a little bit older, but Fed more in particular. Yeah. But then you have the transfers, the guy from Clemson, Tristan Bissetta, and from Illinois State, Daniel Passella. When I tell you Kemp Alderman power from Bissetta, I'm not lying. It's some of the craziest juice I've ever seen. He won the Omaha Challenge last week, right? Took my 3-peat from me. He's that strong.
Hey, hold on. That's breaking news, man. That's breaking news because, I know my guy Judd is about that Omaha Challenge. Wow. Hey, Daniel Passella, right. Hat tip to you, my friend, because Judd was coming for it. Dad gum. Yep.
Bissetta just absolutely ran that weekend. And Passella finished, I think, 3rd or 4th as well. I can't remember.
Bissetta won it. Okay, Bissetta. Look, that's big for him because he's been hurt, man. I mean, yeah.
When I tell you these guys are physical in our outfield, we are physical in our outfield. Even in our corner infield, it is really dangerous. But a guy that I really like, and it's not just because he's over there at third base with me every day, but it's Topher Jones, Mississippi kid. This kid's going to be special. I really think that he's going to be a key part of this team. I don't know where necessarily his role is going to be, but he can swing it, man. He's athletic. He has the grit. He came from Pearl River. He actually was at Mississippi State his freshman year or freshman fall. So he's a sophomore this year. And boy, has he early in the fall, he was lighting it up with the stick. He's been working on his defense. He's gotten a lot better this entire fall. So I think some of those guys, like key points that are you don't necessarily know what it's going to look like opening day. They have the potential to play anywhere, obviously, besides Bissetta and Passella, because they're both left-handed throwers. But some of these guys, Dom, Topher Jones, even some of the guys that didn't get much playing time last year, like Tate Sermons, who had a really good fall. I'm curious to see what that first lineup's going to look like and how it's going to shake out, and then ultimately who we're going to ride with during the season, because I think we have a lot of good options.
Final questions for both of us coming up in just a second. But first, let me tell you about another proud sponsor, Talking Champions, and the Ole Miss Spirit, OleMissSpirit.com. Affiliate of Home 3, sign up today for $1. We'll have Black Friday sales, of course. But even right now, you can sign up for your first week for $1. And, man, I think we were top 4 or 5 in subs sold at On 3, the best network around. And I can't thank y'all enough for showing up and showing out and supporting. So come on over and hang out with us. I'm going to get Judd hooked up with an account just so he can be on there and like do some live Q&A stuff, do some AMA stuff. I thought it'd be fun, like have Judd mix it up with, 6,000 Ole Miss fans if he wanted to. All right, sick of your job, and if you're ready to leave the corporate rat race, or if you want to diversify and build wealth or leave a legacy and have a job maybe, but want a side hustle, Andy Ludicky can help. Andy is a franchise consultant as well as a franchise owner and helps people find franchises that fit their skill sets, passions, and financial requirements. His services are 100% free, and he's here to help you if you have any questions about business ownership. All you have to do is go to myperfectfranchise.net. That's myperfectfranchise.net to learn more, or you can text or call Andy today at 404-973-9901. That's 404-973-9901, myperfectfranchise.net. Thanks to Andy Ludicky. All right, your final question for Ben is what? Make it. Are we doing Lane stuff more? It's okay.
No, it's Ole Miss football related, and it's something that's kind of been on my heart because I know how good these two players are. But why are we not talking more about Trinidad Chambliss and Kewan Lacey for the Heisman voting?
That's a legitimate question. Trinidad has been in that kind of conversation. I don't think he has the numbers, but still to start. That's what I mean. Two less games than everybody else in the SEC at starting quarterback, and yet I think he's like third in the SEC in passing yards. I mean, he's nuts. But like Kewan,
now the Heisman Trophy is who's the best team. Also, right? You have to be on the best team, and you have to be, you have to have the numbers that are ultimately gonna, back that up, and that said that you had a contribution to the team. But I feel like if you look at, and maybe I have the Heisman wrong. Maybe I grew up watching Johnny Manziel and him going, absolutely berserk. And obviously they never made it to the national championship game, but they still gave it to him because of how good of a player he was. Is it something do they lean more on the cumulative stats of this is how many yards you have, this is how many touchdowns you have, this is how many interceptions you have? Or is it, we think this is the best player in college football this year?
See, and I don't think it's been the best player in college football for a long time. You grew up watching Johnny Manziel. I grew up in a time when the Heisman was given to Ron Dane, was given to Ricky Williams. I mean, these guys deserve to win the Heisman Trophy, and because I would argue Jeremiah Love is every bit.
Yeah.
I mean, he should be the front runner to me. I mean, if we're just giving it to the best player in college football, but it feels like it's a quarterback award, and not only a quarterback award, but like you mentioned, the overwhelming favorite to win it every year is the starting quarterback for the best team in college football. So, of course, Julian Sainz, the guy right now. But, man, you can't tell me that Kewan Lacey shouldn't be invited to New York City. You can't. I mean,
I know.
He in his first year starting, he's broken Quinshon Judkins' single-season Ole Miss rushing record for single-season rushing touchdowns, broken the all-purpose yards records. But even that stuff, even if you take that out, like if we're rewarding or giving an award for the best player in college football, I'm not saying Kewan's the best in college football. I'm saying he should be in New York to at least be considered, because part of his job too is pass pro. And man, that's where he separates and doesn't get any of the cumulative stats that others get. But man, without his pass pro and what separates him and makes him an NFL player right here today, that doesn't get factored into the equation. Instead, if you're not a quarterback, you got to have a gimmick, and that's what Travis Hunter had. It's not that he was the best wide receiver in football. He wasn't the best cornerback in football. He just had that gimmick. He played both of them well enough. But this is supposed to be the best player in college football, and I find it very hard to believe. Yeah, and I find it very hard to believe that an 11-1 Ole Miss, and they can still make the SEC championship game, and if they do, does Lane coach that one? I mean, there's so much to consider here in the next coming weeks. They need losses for Texas A&M and Alabama. But point being is, like, I'm with you. Keyjuan deserves to be in New York City. He's not getting any talk. At least Trinidad's gotten a little talk about it. I understand why Trinidad wouldn't get in, because the numbers aren't as, like, especially comparatively with his own position, right? But Keyjuan is different. And the fact that we're not, and that's one thing that has really frustrated me about the whole Lane stuff too. He's gone completely radio silent on social media, which is just not Lane. So, there was some directive coming from someone to say, hey, shut up, you're hurting your case here. But, like, the least you could do, and he finally did something yesterday, was talk about your Doak Walker Award finalist in Keyjuan Lacey. Retweet that. Talk about the guy that should be, like, you should be leading the Heisman charge, but instead you're leading the why are y'all picking on me charge, and it just doesn't – it just don't make no sense to me. All right, my last question for Judd before we get out of here in this edition of Talk of Champions, powered as always by Riverland Roofing, riverlandroofing.com, 662-644-4297. The team – what was different? What really was attained? What was obvious? Like, did this feel different? This fall feel different coming off of making it back? It's no longer about can you be that team? You are that team. So do you sense a different mentality with this group? Do you feel like it's meshing already well? Do you think this is a group that understands the assignment, which is no longer, hey, all right, we got the monkey off the back. We got things back where it turned. Now it's about the winning the whole thing again. You know what I mean? Like, really winning the whole thing again. Is that a mentality in that locker room? Have you seen, like, do you like how it's coming together chemistry wise and with the group writ large?
Yeah, for sure. It checks all the boxes of what you want a team to be pursuing, what you want a team to be looking for, how hungry they are. And I think a lot of it, and this is not giving myself credit, it's more of giving Furness and Hunter and Foley credit for, they came back from the draft. They turned down a lot of money because they want to win here. And ultimately that's our goal. That's why I came back as well. So it's very, very clear in this locker room that our goal is not just to be a good team. We want to be the best team. And each day that we step on the field, we're going to play the best and we're going to beat the other team. That's our goal. And I've talked to you about it. There's a lot of drama in sports. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. But as a player, your only goal is to win the game, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, whatever it is. So I think it's very clear to our team that we're going to go out there, especially with all the work that we put in through the fall, improving our skills, getting to mesh with one another, being able to enjoy each other's presence. But now it's go time. Now, hey, let's go through these winter workouts. Let's do these winter inter squads. And then it's time to go and do some damage and really make a name for ourselves, because this team is totally different than last year's team. Yeah, there's some returners. There's some key players that are coming back, but it's going to look a lot different, especially with how we play the game, who we roll out there. We lose guys like Mason Morris, so who's going to step into that role? Guys are fighting for that role, and that's what I like to see. I like to see competition, especially in the fall, wanting to be that Friday night guy or wanting to be that weekend guy. And you really see it. Guys are out there. They're fiery. Sometimes you'll see in the fall, especially with some older guys, like some transfers, not at our school, but at other schools, they almost feel entitled. I don't see that this year. And that's what's really, really nice is guys are taking each day at a time, knowing that, hey, if I just continue to get better, Coach B is a fair man. He's not an equal man, but he is a fair man, and he's going to do what he sees best for Ole Miss baseball. And we all understand that. Our only job is just to be the best player that we can be, and to go out there and win games. So all that being said, I really like our squad this year. We glue well. We have a lot of old guys and old wins in this league. And I cannot wait to see what it shakes out to be February 13th.
Well, one of the absolute biggest and most, loudest voices and leaders in that room and just leading the calls, man, is Judd Utermark. Thank you for doing this. This has been a relaunch of Judd U. We're going to start making it a weekly thing. Me and Judd have been workshopping stuff, but it's time to really take this thing to the next level, and I can't wait to do it with Judd, a part of the Talk of Champions Network. Our thanks to Riverland Roofing, of course. Real quickly, bonus question. So I heard third base.
Ooh.
So we're moving to third to start.
Hey, you got to talk to boss man. You got to talk to boss man. You know me. They'll stick me out there in the bullpen at some point.
Yep.
It's
I love it. Hey, you can play
that's
anywhere. My whole thing is let's just keep baby brother and Pano. Keep bringing them all. Say, hey man, Gray Kessinger went through it too. You're fine, man. Just come out here and do your thing. He's such a big part of this. But the fact that you have that positional versatility, I heard third base and immediately I was like, well, that's not second, but also he can play short, he can play first.
Hey,
he can play
last fall I was at third base also, so you got to take it with a little grain of salt.
That's a really good point. He's Judd Utermark. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. We'll do it again.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.